All right, guys, we're back, and we're going to go ahead and do the builds video for GHB Mikelin, a.k.a. Mikelin. I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to call him Mikelin because there's an old-school NBA legend called George Mikan, and it seems the most similar to his name, so I'm just going to call him Mikelin. That's basically my explanation for that. But regardless of that, he's coming out tomorrow, and he seems like he's actually going to be the best GHB unit ever. So let's go ahead and talk about him, and let's see what makes him tick. So we have here his stats, 52 HP. We got 49 attack. We got 19 speed, 48 defense, and 43 res. And he has triple super boons. He's got super boons on HP, attack, and res. So pretty relevant stats for him. The speed one would have been a little bit nice, but you may look at the 19 speed and start having a little bit of a panic attack there, wondering how you're supposed to get him to 30 speed to use patience. But it's actually not that bad. I'm going to go ahead and explain a bunch of different ways you can do it. So we have his stats there as far as scoring is concerned. So we have Brave Ectordeer as the stand-in. They basically have the same BST, and they're both beast armors, so he's going to be the proxy. Wallace and Raphael, they both score 780 with everything done to them. Max merges, you got an Arena Blessing, and then you've got the Distant Counter Seal and all the highest SP passives you can get. So they end up at 780, and Mikelin will also end up at 780 if you do all the same things. But keep in mind, at the current time, there is no Distant Counter Beast Sacred Seal, and there's most likely going to be one. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm very sure they're going to, at some point, release Distant Counter Beast as a Sacred Seal. And once that happens, Mikelin will actually be able to outscore both of these guys, because he's going to jump into the 782 bin. And that essentially just makes him the highest scoring arena unit right now. Well, free to play anyway. So, yeah, pretty big deal. Very saucy for us to be getting such a high scoring unit free to play. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg here, because we go ahead and take a look at this guy's weapon. Gautier Stone. This weapon is tremendous. So he's got -1 special trigger. At the start of player phase or enemy phase, he's giving attack and defense up 6. Fringe bonus and preempt pulse to himself and allies in 2 spaces. Preempt pulse and fringe bonus are both really good statuses to be getting, especially for arena. And then at the start of turn, if he is transformed, he gives himself true charge. His transformation is a little bit wonky. We'll take a look at that in a sec, but don't worry about getting true charge from here. It is very important to the way he's going to play out, but there are a lot of other ways you can get true charge on him. And then also he grants attack, defense, and res up 16 to himself. He's getting 25 true damage in combat. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by 15, and then reduce damage from their special by another 15. And then he also blocks the foes from doing a follow-up attack. That can be bypassed if they have no follow-up or something, but it's just a nice little add-in, I guess. And then at the start of turn 3, and from that point onwards, he transforms, and when he transforms, he gets attack up 2, and he gets distant counter. So you gotta wait until turn 3 if you want him to transform naturally. Luckily, there are a lot of ways you can cheat your way out of that, but we'll talk about that in just a sec. And you do want him to transform because you do want him to get true charge, but if you have ways to outsource true charge on him, you don't really need to worry about him transforming naturally. So, yeah, they put a little bit of a, like, fine print on this guy, but you can bypass it, is what I'm trying to say here. And then he has a style, and this is one of the best styles in the game. Basically, the second best style behind the 6 range style. So, Thorns of Ruin style, unit can attack foes 3 spaces away. Grant special cooldown count -1 to unit before unit's first attack during combat. Can't move through 3 spaces of foes that have Bulwark. And then unit suffers a counterattack if the enemy is a armored ranged unit, or an armored unit with range of 1, or the foe has distant counter or close counter. And then after combat, movement effects don't occur. Skills effect range treated as 1. And then once the style is used, it can't be used again for 2 turns. That's a little bit of a steep one right there, the 2-turn cooldown on the style. If it was 1 turn, it wouldn't be that bad, but 2 turns in Arena, where Arena is very fast-paced right now with all the warping and shenanigans that can go on, unless you've gotten the opponent's team down to like 1 unit and you can actually stall them out. It is really fast-paced and hectic when the enemies have units like Duo Freya with the Lin Ring, or they've got the Duo Balder with Edelgard Ring and stuff like that, and they're just coming right for your throat. It can be a little tricky to stave off the cooldown for this, but just getting it off once is great, and having a 3-range style for Arena is insane, man. Like, the Korean Ring is one of the most annoying things to ever happen for Arena. With the enemies setting up the ice tiles within 2 spaces, you can actually bypass that with a 3-range style, because the enemies are going to be 2 spaces away from the ice. You can just stand right in front of the ice, and you can swing on them with a 3-range style. So it's really good, and then he can also reset terrain if you feel like giving him any of the terrain passives that would let him do that. So just a very, very powerful unit. So Patience right here, I just wanted to go over the speed condition for this real quick, because we are going to be running Patience on a couple of these builds. So if unit speed at the start of battle is greater than or equal to 30, then you get the potent follow percentage from Patience right there. And the conditions for him being over 30 speed, it's not going to count legendary effects, mythic effects, bonus hero effects, if he happens to be a bonus hero for the season, and then great talent, and it says etc. I actually wish they wouldn't have said etc. for this, because it does leave a little bit of a question mark. Are they including summoner support in that? I actually have no idea, because summoner support would be counted the same as a bonus hero status effect, where you're just getting stats out of nowhere. So I'm actually not sure what the etc. for this means. Like, what are the other things they mean to say? I wish they would have just laid it all out right there in flat English, but they didn't. So to hell with them. I'm going to give you guys Patience my own way. So but before we take a look at the builds, I also want to do a little comparison to him and Wallace, who is the most recent blue armor type unit. Yeah, they are different weapon types, because this guy's a beast and Wallace is a lance. But they are both blue armor type units. So if we take a look stat-wise, Mikelin's got a little bit more HP than Wallace. He's got 1 more point. They both have 50 attack, and they both have super boons on attack, so whatever. Wallace has more than enough speed to get to Patience very safely and very comfortably. That's not exactly going to be the case with Mikelin. You're going to need a little bit of investment to get him over the speed hump. And then Wallace has 49 defense, as does Mikelin. And then Mikelin has 44 res, and then Wallace has 36. So a very huge res differential there, and that does matter because Mikelin also has a res super boon, and if you're just going to run him as a safe unit or something like that, then having the extra res does matter. So overall, I think they match up pretty decently. It's just that Mikelin's weapon is way too good. Having the 3-range style for Arena, that's not something I imagine Wallace will ever be able to do. We could wait like 2 more years down the line. We're not getting an inheritable lance that's going to be able to crack the same range as this guy's beast weapon. So, yeah, overall, if you're only going to build one of these guys, I would say definitely go for Mikelin, but it is worth it to build both of them, actually. So, don't count Wallace out just yet. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the builds. So, build number 1, this is just going to be your typical Arena build. Strat Flame gives us the most damage and the most utility, where it's setting up 2 lanes of fire tiles. You could say you want to go for Fortune instead, just to get him to transform, but the only thing he really gains from transformation is the True Charge and the attack up 2. If you have an ally on the team with Strat Assault, which you most likely should if you're playing Arena Armors, you can easily just get True Charge on him from that, and then all of a sudden he doesn't even care about transforming anymore. So I would say just go for Strat Flame just to get the most consistency and the most damage and utility. Patience, we're able to get over 30 speed because if you give him the Ascended Floret for plus speed, and then you give him one of those Squad Ace seals that gives you HP up 6, speed up 4, and then another stat up 4, he's already over the hump and he's over 30 speed. So these Sacred Seals, don't worry about running them in Arena. They are perfectly Arena viable because they all score 240 SP. And outside of the Distant Counter and Close Counter Sacred Seals, that's currently the highest scoring Sacred Seal we can get. So you're not running these Squad A Seals at a disadvantage. Don't worry about that. So easy way to just get him over the speed hump. If you want to do other ways to do it, I'm not sure if the aided blessings or the bouquets are going to matter here, or if summoner support matters either, because like I said, the patient's wording is very vague. Saying etc. here is kind of dirty. I would have liked them to mention every single possible thing, but they didn't, so I don't know. But this is a guaranteed surefire way to get him over 30 speed. We're going for patience, obviously. The potent attack is really good. Edelgard Ring in this case, because it gives him an extra action so he can be a Gale Forcer. Obviously, that's very good for a unit that has 3 range of style. He has access to a lot of other good rings, though. Erica Ring gives him Brave Attacking, which is good. Micaiah Ring, you can use it with Swap Gate or Reposition Gate to get him a bonus action after the assist, artificially extending his range, because after he does that, he can still move 3 with True Charge, and then he can get the 3 range style off. Corrin Ring is okay. It gives him terrain support, obviously, but you don't necessarily need to give that to him. You give that to somebody else. Byleth Ring, I wouldn't recommend on him, even though obviously just having Byleth Ring on anybody in Arena is helpful. I think you want Mikelin to be your main attacker for Arena, considering he's got the 3 range style. So have somebody else for backup with the Byleth Ring to dance this guy. Edelgard Ring, like I said, is the go-to. Marth Ring could be okay. Give him a little bit more cooldown reduction. Ike Ring, I would say no. Celica Ring, I would say no, because between True Charge and the 3 range style, he already reaches further than Celica Ring. So he definitely doesn't need that. Sigurd Ring gives him Kanto, but that's just about it. It gives him a little extra damage too, but I would say he doesn't really need it. And then Lucina Ring doesn't do anything for him, but it can give allies DR support. I would say your best bets are Edelgard Ring or Micaiah Ring. So those would be the go-tos. As far as the special goes, definitely Armored Flare. Like, we did get a new one, actually. We got Sturdy Beast, or Sturdy Laguz from the Fallen Tibarn, but it's just not as good as Armored Flare. It only has 1 instance of the DR 40%, whereas Armored Flare has 2. And then Armored Flare is giving you attack and defense great talent, which is huge. So I would say just go for Armored Flare over Sturdy Laguz. And then Instruct, really hard to argue with Instruct. Honestly, can we just all admit Instruct is kind of broken for a C skill? The amount that it gives you is just way too much. All stats up 9 potentially. You're giving great talent support to allies. You're getting 5 true damage and 5 true DR. Like, dude, Instruct is just so stacked, man. Another reason we took a massive L with Ike winning over the Emblem Byleth for the Hero Rises event. But it is what it is. And then the only Echo skill I would recommend for this guy is Sly Echo. You could try, I guess, Mercy Wing Echo if you want him to warp, but nah, man, just go for Sly Echo. It gives him extra damage. It even gives him a guaranteed follow-up, so he could possibly quad or hit 5 times, depending on how much potent or brave attack potential you've got on him. Okay, these would be secondary skills. These are still pretty good skills to give him. Dark Beast Agility, also from the Fallen Tibarn that we just got. This one turns off out-of-combat abilities, so basically it's got Feud on it. That could be really huge, and it's hard to quantify like how much value you're going to get out of that over Instruct. Instruct is just very clean-cut, very cut and dry. You know exactly what you're getting. Dark Beast Agility depends on what kind of support the enemies have on the team, but there's a ton of units, especially Duo Baldur and Duo Freya, that show up in Arena all the time. Their Crux debuffs are insane, so being able to turn those off is huge, and that's why Dark Beast Agility could actually sneak in there as one of the best options. Attack and Defense Fortune, this is only if you're not running Strat Assault on another unit, and you want him to transform, and then you want him to get his own True Charge. So Attack and Defense Fortune would work for that. Otherwise, it's basically the exact same build. This time, Reposition Gate. Any of the gates will work. Swap Gate, Drawback Gate, Repo Gate, whichever one you like best is the one to go for. And then finally, this one's more of a bait build. There's a lot of save possible options you could go for the save skill. I just like physical and magic save, but also, if you'd just rather go for near and far save, those work. I would go for the Briar as opposed to the Twin, because Armored Flare already procs twice anyway. You don't really need the Twin skills anymore. And keep in mind, he is a beast unit, so he also gets lower ground and higher ground as well. So those are just save with also Warp Bubble built in. Pretty good. Guard Echo this time around. Sly Echo only works when you initiate, so Guard Echo gives you a little DR and guard on the enemies, which is fine. Diluvial Boost gives you the most stats and some HP there, and a little healing too. And then pair up as far as true damage and true DR, this would be your best bet. Works even better against enemies that have Brave Attacking as well, so very easy. And it's very easy to get the condition off with the 3-space ally with save skills. So yeah, this would be the go-to I would recommend for a save skill build. And then Erica Ring for the Brave Attacking. Since a save unit, you don't really want them to player phase that much. Just having the Brave on the enemy phase is going to be very helpful. So there you guys go. Those are the builds that I came up with for Mikelin. I think if you're going to build one, this would probably be the one to go for. Although the other ones, they're not bad either, right? Like, these definitely have some use cases for sure. It all just depends on how you plan to use them, where you plan to use them, and what sort of allies you're going to have on the team. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.